investment license. You know, anybody that ever taken that exam, you know that's a pretty tough exam. So to give you some hope today, that if I can, you can. Um, I passed the 6 and 63 and 26, but was it tough? I failed the 6 9 times. I failed 63 9 times as well. So if you just stay persistent, see, persistency breaks down resistance, and that test kept resisting me. And so I finally broke through that. And so I started in finance. I got going and I started realizing more that there was a conspiracy when it comes to money. And so therefore, as I discovered that, I now teach that. So therefore, what you're gonna learn is what they don't want you to know. You're gonna learn how to take $25 a month and start an investment so that you can create wealth and teach it to your children so we can stop the broke generation, because if they have the knowledge and the know-how, it can be done and it can be created so that they'll never ever have to suffer again financially. You know, one of the things that I also looked at during my studies of becoming aware of all of this, and that is that the certain influent families children go to school in convertibles. Our children grow up going to school riding 10 speeds. And so we got to create a different wealth pattern through the thought process. The most important thing that's got to happen is that we got to create a habit of investing money. And so investing money is the most simplest way you can ever do that. And so therefore, those are some of the concepts and steps that we're going to teach you through this process.
Okay, so you got creating wealth for what you have. What
Yes.
made you come up with that for your topic for your podcast?
Well, what made me come up with that is because when I got started, I didn't have nothing. And so I started, I lived in an apartment right now, and I got two checks a month, right? One check went to pay my rent, and the other check went to pay my car payment. And if I had lights, that was kind of like a luxury to me, my lights would be on, my lights wouldn't be on. But I grew up in Michigan, so in California, just to me, it just don't get cold. In Michigan, it gets like 10, 20 below zero, and it's cold 9 months out the year. Well, California, the lowest it ever gets in the nighttime is 38 degrees. And so that's some days, that's the height of the temperature that day in Michigan. And so I decided that I wanted to become wealthy. In fact, I've always wanted to be wealthy. I've always wanted to do something spectacular with my life. I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to be able to do what I want to do when I wanted to do it and however I wanted to get it done. I just never had the income to do that. I just didn't really have a good, honest way that I could do that. There's other ways that money can be accomplished, but I wanted to get it the right way, the legal way, so I wouldn't have to worry about looking over my shoulder all the time and in the law. And so I started then, and I developed a habit of saving $50 a month. And I was scared because it was never taught to me in my neighborhood that you can invest money like that. And so when I learned that and I started investing money, then I started getting my license. That 1 year that I invest $50 a month, which is $600, I earn a much higher rate of return. And I saw my money grow, and I'm like, wow. I couldn't believe it at first. I felt like it was that old saying, people say it's too good to be true. Well, I thought it was that too, but I still did it because I knew if I didn't do it, what was the worst thing that could happen to me? I'd be right back where I started from. So therefore I did it, and it made a big difference. I invested, I started increasing my investment from $50 a month to $100 a month, and then I started investing $500 a month. And then I met my awesome wife. At that time, her name was Patricia Hill, and then she became the love of my life. And now her and I have been married since 1996, a little over 22 years. But when we got married from the investing, I took money out of my investment accounts and paid for our wedding, had our wedding rings designed and made, paid for our cruise. And I just couldn't believe all of this was really true and was happening. But it is true and it is good, it's just never taught to you. And so that made the difference because it's never taught in our families.
Right on.
And so therefore we didn't have no bills. Some people when they get married, they are charged a cake on their card, and that cake they still paying on it 3 years later. And so therefore, because of investing, was able to do all those things. And then it was the habit that caused me to do it. So today, you know, my goal is to invest anywhere between $3,000 to $10,000 every month because that's how wealth is created. So I started with $50, and all of us got $50. We just choose to we choose to decide, is it worth us being able to invest that money? And we so afraid that well, I don't know, but you got to get started somewhere.
Well, Brother Michael on here who was watching, I forgot what city you're from, Brother Michael, he said, what was his question? How can a person get started in investing? That is a great question.
It's real simple. All you got to do is meet with someone like myself. And we just set up the application just like we set up an application for a credit card. It's just that simple, and you gotta have a checking account because the IRS and all those people want to know where the money's coming from. And as long as it's drafted from a checking account, sir, it can go directly into your investments. So I teach people how to invest. I teach them how to pick the investments. When I'm setting up their investment accounts, we go look at the different funds. We look at the average rate of return from 1, 3 to 5 years, and what the share price is.
Right on. He's from Chicago.
Oh, okay. And so that's how simple it is that you can start investing. And you can start with little as $25 a month and still earn like a 10% rate of return. Mutual funds been averaging a double-digit rate of return since 1928.
Wow. What is a mutual fund?
A mutual fund is a pool of companies in one fund. It's like a vine of grapes. If you pull a vine of grapes out of a bag, it's got about 100 or 150 grapes on that one vine. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Well, each one of those grapes on that vine represent a company inside of a mutual fund because a mutual fund has an average of 100 to 150 companies in that one fund, which now reduce your risk of loss because your money is being diversified through all of those companies. And for you to lose your money, all the companies have to go belly up. And that just won't ever happen. The economy was just too strong for that to happen. So that's what a mutual fund is. It is an investment fund that you're putting money into that diversified through 100 to 150 companies in that fund.
Well, tell us a little bit on your board about what you're going to be covering through these podcasts around creating wealth, which you have. Like, tell us about that.
As you can see on my board here, I have on the first week we're going to do what's called Introduction to the World of Wealth. I'm going to teach you about the conspiracy that happened to all of us in the world of wealth because the financial industry came together. They had a board meeting and they said, what we're going to do is we're going to keep people from knowing about money so we can control all the money throughout the United States and the world as possible. And they've done a good job for a number of years, and that kind of leaked out. So I'll teach that in the Introduction to the World of Wealth. But the next one, as you can see, how to turn your debt into wealth. You know, we found that 70% of a family's household income goes towards some form of debt. And so I'm going to teach you how to get rid of the debt, take the money, create wealth with it because we're already spending the money. We already have the money. We're just not taught how to make the money work for us. The next class I'm going to teach in is how not to be taken advantage of the life insurance industry and how they're doing. Right now, a lot of the companies in the industry is being sued for deceptive sales practices of life insurance, as well as not paying death claims to beneficiaries because they say the beneficiary don't know how to fill out the paperwork. So we make sure people know how to do all of that stuff. The other thing I'm going to teach you is, you know, the basic of investing safely because the most safest investment ever is the one that you know how to operate. In a conspiracy, they keep you from knowing how to operate. But once you learn how to operate investing, it's very simple as reciting your ABCs. And once you know how to do that safely, you can invest and grow money and to get the money to work for you. And then we're going to talk about how to hit your goals with absolute certainty. Because if it's going to be, it's up to me, and you got to say that because that's what has happened with me and my family. And then the most important thing we want to do is teach you how to create your own personal financial plan so that you can achieve the wealth that you're looking for. And then you can pass that down to generation to generation to generation to generation so that they can then also stop the broke generation, and then we can make a major difference in our generations to come.
So Brother Michael is also asking, when you make those investments, are you locked into that? Are you locked in for a period of time with investments?
Well, you are if you set up a retirement account. A retirement account, you know, the IRS says you got to be 59 and a half before you can pull the money out and use the money. But if you set up an investment account that's not an IRA account, you want to have like a dream account. I call it my dream fund because there's things that we've always dreamed of doing. And let's just say you want to take a dream vacation and you're going to do it in 3 years. So you're going to put money in that dream account for the next, and you take it out. If an emergency comes up and you really need it, then you can use the money at that point without any penalties. You just pay taxes on the growth of the money. And so therefore, it's going to be real simple to have freedom and access to all monies you got access to without penalties, as long as it's not a retirement account and you can grow it at a high rate of return.
Right on. That was a great question. Christy gave you a clap.
All right. Thank you.
So, with this being said, savings account. What is the purpose of a savings account? It usually comes with your checking account.
Well,
Sometimes.
well, let me tell you about what those industries do with that savings account. They call it a savings account so that you can put your money in them. But here's what's been happening, and I'm going to teach in depth on that's part of the conspiracy of money that I'm going to talk about in the next podcast that we do. But to answer the question, when you put your money in a savings account, the savings account might give you 0.01% rate of return. That's not even 0.1%. So the money goes in there, and they hold on to it. Think about it. Everybody walked in the bank and took their what? Bankrupt. So that means they're not an investment company, in which a lot of people send them to go invest their money. The investment company, the banks take that money you give them in those savings accounts, those CDs and all those, and they bring it to people like us. We're the investment company. I represent the investment companies. And so therefore, the mutual funds, like I stated earlier, have been averaging a double-digit rate of return since 1928. So they bring your money to people like us. If we pay a minimum 6 to 25% rate of return, it goes back to the account and the name that's on the account earns that interest rate. So if the name is not yours, it's at the bank, then the bank, if we pay them 10, they give you 0.1. So that means they earn 9.9% rate of return on your money, and you get like 0.1%. So the savings account is really not a benefit to you. It's a benefit to them. The money, the interest that they pay on the savings account, you just might as well go stick it in a pillowcase at home someplace. You'll do better because you'll still have your money.
Is cryptocurrency real investment?
I never believed in cryptocurrency. Now, this is me, my personal opinion. Based on my knowledge and experience, I never believed in cryptocurrency because there was no regulations on it. Like when you look at your currency today, there's regulations. There's people, the SEC, Security Exchange Commission, you got the NASD, you got all of these, you got the federal boards, you got all of these people regulating money, printing money, making sure the currency holds up true and is valuable. Well, I can't do nothing with something I can't feel, touch, or see. So I never believed in cryptocurrency, and a lot of people have lost a lot of money in that. They call it an investment, but I don't see it that way, and I've never invested nothing in it. I've made some predictions to some of my friends that cryptocurrency is controlled by some other person. And then when they get sick and tired, or they get a certain amount of money in there, they can shut it down, take the money, and then there's nothing you really can do. I wouldn't buy any cryptocurrency, and that's my opinion and my opinion only. Opinion is like ears. Everybody got at least 2 of them. Well, that's one of mine. I would never buy cryptocurrency.
Okay. Retirement. What should people be doing in their retirement?
Right now,
Preparing for it, sorry.
Right now, people should be putting money away right now for retirement. I don't care if you're 19. At some point, you're going to get to 59 and a half. And when you get there, you want to be wealthy. You see, what a lot of people was taught, go to school, get a good education, get a good job, and then save your money. And that's what people have been doing. So they're coachable to what they've been taught. They save their money, but they save it in places where they're getting less than 1% rate of return on their money. So the money won't grow because it doesn't keep pace with inflation. But even at the earliest, you should set up three different accounts. One should be your emergency account. The other one should be your your dream fund account, which is short term, and then a wealth building account. And then the fourth one is like a midterm is 5 to 10 years somewhere in there that you might want to do something. Then you want to put money in there too. So four good accounts would be perfect. The wealth building account is your retirement. Always start right now putting money away for retirement because at some point you're going to get there. The great news is now you've saved the money. You've never been taught what to do with the money after you save it. We start spending. No, you take that money and have that money now work for you. It'll not create checks for you forever. You turn that money into pensions and you'll never ever run out of money. You'll always be able to do whatever you want to do as long as you want to do it and who you want to do it with. And help whoever you like to help.
Right on. One more question here
Okay,
before
sure.
we get to wrap. This is a great introduction. But also, how do you teach your children about money?
Well, here's how you teach your children. What I did with my son, when they get paid, they want to go do what? Buy the latest gadgets. They want to buy the phone or they want to buy whatever it may be. I asked him, I said, hey man, let me ask you this question. How would you like to own part of the company that creates the phones that you keep buying? He said, I can do that. I said, yeah, let me teach you about investing. And so I started him investing $50 a month out of his paycheck. And even though he wasn't comfortable with it because he wanted to do what? Spend it right now. I taught him that, look, if you invest now, at some point you'll never have to invest. The money will take care of you. So he started investing based on trusting me. And when he got his statement at the end of the year, he saw that his $600 was worth $900. And that then created an interest to develop the habit. And then he started asking me, if I put more money, would I earn more money? I said, yes. So that's how you start them. You see, just like we was taught, go to school, get a good education, get a good job, save your money. That's taught to us when we was kids. You start teaching your kids, go to school, get an education, and invest your money. That's what I teach them. Because if you don't invest your money for you, those financial institutions will invest for you. They'll just earn the higher rate of return and give you the lesser.
Okay, the brother's asking, how can I start an investment group with my people? How can I illustrate the importance of an investment group?
Well,
and give you information so he could just call you because I think that wants
yeah,
a call.
That's deep.
Yeah, that wants a call.
That one takes more than a short answer. So my number is right here on the board. Here is 916-519-7707. And so you can contact me at any time, and then I can help you with that. And of course, there's no cost. I'm going to do this all complimentary. And I want to give thanks to Rolanda for making this possible that we can reach out to you guys to teach you what the industry don't want you to know. And so you can call me about anything. I help people from one end of the financial arena to the other end, right down to reading contracts that you don't even understand. Like I just had a lady work with her son died. And he went and paid for all the funeral services and paid for all of this stuff. And the problem with that is people take advantage of you grieving at that point. It's an emotional thing. Mm-hmm. Your loved one is gone and you're emotional, but with them it's a business. So they take advantage of you because you're not clear in your thought process. And so therefore, she said, she gave me the document. She said, here, Mr. Franklin, can you read that and tell me what I bought? I'm like, whoa. She didn't know what she bought. So I started reading it, and as I found out is that if a person, and this I didn't know, I probably should have, but I don't work on that side of the arena. But if a person have a funeral service in California on a Saturday, they charge them $900 extra, $900 more for a funeral service on Saturday. They're gonna do the same thing on Monday through Friday, but just for Saturday, it's $900 more, plus they have another $300 fee. So when I looked over that, we called and we eliminated all that money, which for some reason, I'm not sure if they tell them that. I wasn't there when the conversation took place. So I'm not sure how to answer that correctly, but I know it was in the contract. But we got that changed, and that saved saved her $1,200 those two items. So, um, all these different things as we continue to move forward.
So when we're gonna hear from you again? Because one more time, just go over some of the topics you're gonna be covering that we talk about every Friday morning. I love it. Friday morning, learn about your money.
Okay, great. Like I said, the next one, not this Friday, next Friday coming because we'll be out of town working, but the following Friday, we're going to be talking about the introduction to the world of wealth. And at that point, I'm going to teach you about the conspiracy of money and what the financial industry groups come together to keep us from having it. It's a very simple process. Then the next one is how to turn the debt you have into wealth because there's money being spent on that. And then how not to be taken advantage of with the insurance industry and what they've done to people on a deceptive basis. And then the basic of investing safely. And then the other one is how to hit your goals with absolute certainty. And then we're going to create your own personal financial game plan to create wealth. It's going to be a very simple process. We're going to have fun doing it. And once you start learning more about money, which is what I think you should know because it's the most important asset that you have, and we really don't have no instructions on how to work it. And so I'm going to teach you that. So we're going to have fun throughout these weeks to come as I teach this stuff. So once again, you can call me. My name is Calvin Franklin. My number is area code 916-519-7707, and I can help you with all these you have.
Thank you so much, and I included your number.
All right. Okay.
All right. Peace.
All right. Have a great day.
All right, that's good. Oh, this was just a backup. Okay, but I don't even need this now.